okay. So maybe I should press this, go live. Okay, how about that? So now we should be actually live. Yes, we are. Absolutely. We are live and we are rocking it. Hello everybody. Hello awesome people. How you doing today? Welcome to this other beautiful English live lesson. How you guys doing? This is the first English lesson of the year and this is awesome. So I'm so pleased to see you all. Hello Irina, hello Lolly, and hello to everyone else who is about to join us now. If you're new, we're going to spend 50 minutes together pretty much where we are going to improve our English. All right, so this is our goal. Our goal is to make our English better, stronger, just like the song said, faster, stronger, faster, better, stronger, right? And we're gonna do this together thanks to a Q&A session. This means that you're going to ask me questions and I'm going to reply to the questions you ask. There are three ways you can do to ask me questions. The first way, the better one, the best one actually. The first way is to use the link down below. You just open the description. You're going to find a link. Just click on the link and you just fill in the form. It's a very simple form where it only asks you your name and the question you want to ask. I receive it, I prepare for it in advance, and then when the next time I'm going live, here is the answer. Otherwise, you can just ask it to me right here in the chat box or down here in the comments below. But of course, that I'm going to answer to those questions only if we have enough time. Otherwise, the questions you ask me there are going to be postponed to the next opportunity, the next time I'm going live. So it's time to begin. This lesson is gonna be pretty intense because the answers, the questions I received were pretty intense. They were all grammar oriented. So this means that, well, stay with me because today we are gonna learn a lot. Of course, we're also gonna have fun because you know that there's no learning without fun, right? They stay together. Fun, learning, they're all together. And here we are. So let's begin with the first question. The first question is from Lolly. So hello, Lolly, and it's good to see you here live with us today. And you're asking, please, how to use the words about and around when they mean approximately. All right, so this is a very, very good question. It got me thinking a little because these words, like I have never actually, like this is the first time that I have to explain them separately. Usually they are just part of a bigger conversation and this is the first time. So thank you so much, Lolly, to give me the possibility to explain this very interesting concept on its own, and this is awesome. So let's do it straight away. So let's get straight to it. And of course, to do that, we have our beautiful piece of paper. And of course, if you're going to like what I'm about to say, do press the like button. Of course, if you want to see more, if you want to be updated with anything that we are going to do on this channel, well, subscribe, because here this is the place. If you want to be fluent, this is the place to be. Now, on with the answer. And both the words around, so let me put them up here, around and about. So we have these two words here. We want to understand how to use them, right? When they what was the question? Let me see. When they mean approximately. All right. Well, actually, I'm going to do more than that because I'm going to actually explain you the image of these words, so you can actually use them in any context. So let's say you want to talk about something. Something is your subject. So something. All right. And this something is literally whatever you want. Something can be this one, it can be this phone, which by the way I'm going to dial in over the YouTube video as well, so I can check your comments live as soon as they come up. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now because I always forget to do it. So hold on just a second as I do that. Let me see, because it's not really easy to actually get into the, okay, yeah, here we know this is the line. All right, okay, so I don't see it for some reasons. I can't see, but anyway, so to check your comments, I'm going to resort to the old method. I'm going to switch between the tabs. Okay, so just wait a few seconds more if I don't answer to you straight away. So back to our topic right here, we have the word something, which can be really whatever you want, okay? When you want to use the word around to approximate, means that what you're saying goes around this topic, all right? So literally around, you see, I'm going to actually write it down here, around, all right? By the way, if you look at the word around, okay, you can actually separate it, because you can say around or you can simply say round. What's the difference? If you say round, well, this is round. Round is a shape, okay? It's this shape here. Whereas when you say around, the letter A right before many words in English serves to multiply the meaning. So when you say round, you mean the shape. When you say around, you mean the direction you're going, and you're going in this circular direction around, okay? For example, now we are talking about something around something. Let's say that here in the middle that was the word let's say television, right? If you wanna talk about, if we say that this is the word television, here we have the word video, right? So the word video is around the topic of television, right? Or if you want to approximate, and therefore, if you want to say we are talking about videos, but you have in mind the word television, you're going to say we're talking about, we're talking around the topic of television. Also, around is useful for numbers. For example, instead of television, we have, let's say the word 5 here. 5, all right, and maybe the real number that we are talking about is 5.5, okay? So for some reason you want to say there are 5.5 things, okay, but because it's very close to 5, you can say there are around 5 things. All right, so you're using the word around when you go around a particular topic, and this is our topic, all right, and we are around it. Now the word about is very similar, but there's no image of going round. So let me change again the color. When you say about is everywhere, about, right? So this is why the word about is more useful, is more used than the word around, because let's say once again numbers, okay, and we want to say 5, but the number we're talking about is 7.3, all right? We can still say there are about 5, Okay, instead of there are 7.3, we can approximate, we can get close enough just by saying there are about 5. Okay, so let me check in the comments how this is going, if you guys have any questions about it. Okay, so far no questions about it. If you have any questions about this topic, go ahead. By the way, if you have any questions about this topic, all right, so as you can see, it's very used and very useful and very common to use the word about, because it's more general, whereas the image of the word around is like only related to circular kind of ideas. So once again, that's the biggest difference. Other than that, when you are approximating something, you can use both the words. Okay, so both the words are valid, but around is a little less useful because it only has one particular image, whereas the word about is more general, because anywhere else close to the topic is all about. This part here is all about. Then when we go to the other one, for example, here we said 7.3. 7.3 is a bit far away from 5, okay? But if we said 8 is not in the about area anymore, okay? So this is the about area. So this is how you use about. Whenever you talk about something, okay, what you're talking about is around a particular topic. I hope that this drawing helps you to understand. If it doesn't, please write it down in the comments, write it down in the chat box, wherever you want, so I can, if you have any questions about it, I'm right here. And if it's not clear, guys, let me know, okay? I'd be more than happy to help you out. So now back to this phrase here, okay? Because now it's time to go to the next question. And once again, the next question, hold on just a second, because like always happens, there are things that work and things that don't work, but now we're going to make them work. Okay, so like always, and here we are with the second questions. And the second question is once again from Lolly, and you're asking, is there a difference between what about and how about? Well, this is a perfect continue. This is perfect to continue our conversation about right? So yeah, because as we have just learned, you can use the word about when you're talking about a topic, you're talking of something in the about area, right? But this particular construction is used for questions. So let's put it into an example, and for doing that, back to our beautiful page, and this time we're going to turn the page around. Here we go. So let's say that you want to say, so your question is, what's the difference between what about bam 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 or how about dun dun dun. Right, now as we have learned, when you are asking about, you're talking about this about area, okay? So here you're asking a particular question, here you're asking another particular question. What about last weekend? How about going out? All right? So as you can see, I put two different questions because when you are introducing your question with what or with how, you are asking different things. So when you're asking what, you are referring to the bulk of your message. You're referring to the subject. Okay, so the subject, for example, in this case is last weekend. Last weekend. Last, okay, because it wasn't very clear. So you are asking about last weekend and you want to know the about area. About area. About it. Okay, so if you say what about last weekend, you're asking what happened last weekend. Tell me something about this subject. Tell me something about last weekend. Tell me what happened. Tell me where did you go? What did you do? Were you who were you with? What happened? And anything else. So here, after what about, you have to mention the topic you want to know about. What about what about these live lessons, right? If I ask you, what about these live lessons? I want to know your opinion on these live lessons. What about Christmas? If you ask me what about Christmas, you want to know about Christmas, and of course, this is the subject, Christmas. Right now, already happened. Christmas already happened. We have the tree right here, but it already happened. Meaning that we are asking me to once again explain you or tell you something about Christmas, like how did I spend it, where did I go, what did I eat, something like that. But if you ask me what about Christmas, and maybe it's, I don't know, the 10th of December, so it's the 10th of December and you're asking me what about Christmas, then you are asking me if I have any plans for Christmas. Okay, so you are using what to ask about the subject. When you're using how, well, that's a totally different story, my friends, because the word how is used when you want to know a description. Description. And in fact, for this reason, actually no, there's no reason, because so description. So instead of subject, you want to know a description. Description of and about area. About area. So in other words, you are diving deeper into what I feel, or how I feel, not what, into how I feel about something. For example, how about going out? You want to know what I think or how I feel about the idea of going out. All right. How about watching a movie? Then you want to know, you want to have a description of the way I feel about watching a movie, where watching a movie is the subject, is the description you want to have about, and this is all you want to know about this. All right. So I guess that with this graphic way, you can better understand how to use about, right? And how to use what about and how about. So once again, what about is used when you want to just bring up a subject and you want people to talk about a subject. How about is used when you want to once again bring up a subject, but you want to go into the feeling, like if it's a good idea or not. In fact, how about is very much used to give suggestions, like how about we go to the next question. How about I now check if there are any messages. By the way, yes, we do have a message from Irina. She says, so we use about for something in general and around for something more specific. Kinda. To answer to your question, I would say yes. I would say that you use around when you wanna have yes, definitely, you're definitely correct, Irina. Yes, you're going to use around when you are more specific about a topic, when you want to be more specific about a topic, when you're closer to the topic. And then you use about when you are a bit far away from it. Well done. This was a very clever thing. Thank you so much for this comment, Irina. Yes. And Lolly, how about going for a beer? That's a perfect example. Absolutely. That's a perfect example because you're asking, okay, you're asking the other person the feeling about going for a beer. Perfect example, my friends. Excellent. You are doing a great job in following me. I know it can be a little bit difficult if you are new to this language. In fact, if you're new to this language, don't worry because I'm about to prepare a series of video lessons, actually streaming lessons, right on this topic. But more about it whenever the thing is ready. So now on to the next question, which is from Hugo. Hello, my friend. If you're here with us today, knock on our door or basically send us a little message on the chat box. If you're not, anyway, here is the question, and welcome whenever you are going to watch this replay. See, so you say good morning, and good morning to you. I have a question: when we use ing in nouns and why? Oh boy, this is a question. This is a very interesting question, very deep into a particular topic, and for this reason, first I need to drink a little. Yes, because now I'm ready to answer to this very interesting question. So let's give some context to this very important one. We are talking about nouns and we're talking about ing. Usually you see ing close to actions, and occasionally you see that you can use actions with ing to turn them into nouns. So for example, what I mean to be very clear is that a noun, for example, a brush pen, doesn't turn into some form like ing, like brush penning. No, there's no such thing. Okay, so what the question is here, I guess, is how to turn, or no, how to use an action as in ing and then turn it into a noun, and what this make, how to use it. So to first understand better this question, I'm going to once again resort to this beautiful paper right here, but we need a blank page available, and this is a nice blank page because we need to clarify a little. So when we talk about ing, we are talking about actions always as a starting point. Okay, so this means we have actions and we have actions plus ing. Now, what is an action? Why do I call it action? Well, when I say action, I refer to verbs, okay? But and let me just write it down just in case, you know, maybe just to be very clear. When we say verbs, we get into the realm of grammar. And grammar can be heavy because it's not graphic. And it's not really interesting neither because you can't see a real application. But any verb is actually only an action. Okay, so if we see it from this standpoint, it's just easier. Let me explain what I mean. For example, this is a verb, right? But it's an action. The reason why we turn this one into a verb, to drink, is because we need to give a name to this action. If we didn't need to give a name to this action, there wouldn't need any need for a verb. For example, if I say this movement here, this is an action, right? But it's meaningless. There's no meaning to this action, and for this reason we don't need a verb to talk about it. But if one day there's the need for this action, okay, how stupid it is, but then we will create a verb for it. And so this is why I'm talking about actions, because it's just easier to relate with them. Okay, now let's go back to what we were talking about: actions and actions plus ing. For example, let's say run and running. Now, what's the difference between run and running? This is our question. This is our most fundamental question, because if you go by grammar books, then you don't really understand it. But if you go by an example, now I'm sure you will understand it. When we say run, we can actually compare the action run to a car. And let me do this. Let's go online. Let's go online for a second, because I want to show you what I mean. So I'm going to bring up a car. And here we go. Let's take this one, which is a very nice car. Okay. So this is a car. Okay. And so far so good. We look at it and it's fine. This is the word run. This is an action. We look at it, it's okay. We see it. We see the potential of run. In fact, to be more specific, we can also take the word run and we see this guy here. Do we see it moving? No, we don't see it moving. We see it as he moves, but he doesn't actually move. It's there. We can see the potential, but this is it. When we say running, or better, when we say, if I go over here, this is to keep you explaining, and I put the word car though, we see the car moving. For example, here. This car is moving. This is an action with ing. And if I put it in the same example, this is run, and here we got running. Here, this man here. Okay, this is running, this is run. This is the difference, you guys. So whenever we're told, whatever action you are talking about, if you say the same, even the action say, which is the act of, letting the air out and speaking, all right? This is an image compared to an image that is moving. So this is the biggest difference, all right? I want you to be I want to be sure that this part is clear. Now, let me check if there are any questions so far, because I know that this is a pretty interesting topic, but pretty difficult. So far, no questions. Okay, so back to our page here. Okay, now that we understand that this is an action, but is a frozen actually, let's say, it's a frozen image, whereas running is a moving image. Okay, we can get a little deeper into what this means, because for example, let's say I like let's talk about tastes. Okay, I can say I like to run, and by the way, let's remember that whenever we're talking about this the base form of an action, we always need to before, right? I can say I like to run, but what I say to you, what I communicate, is just an image, the image of you in the action like this, in the action of running. But if I say I like running, then I say the same thing, but in movement. All right. So if I say if I say I like running, you see me in the action of moving, of running up and down. Yes, this is it. Okay. So this is the difference. Now, how do we get to turning this into a noun? There are, let's take running. Actually, running is a bulk of actions together because there are many actions in the action of running. For example, there's the action of going, maybe going fast. Then there's the action of literally moving. There's the action of let me see. There's the action of pacing. And pacing is the action of moving with rhythm. This is pacing, right? So all these actions are inside the word running, the action running. Another one, there's breathing. Breathing is this too is inside the action of running. Can you see how many actions? Do you see how many actions here there are? And actually the list goes on, because the more you go granular into the action of running, the more actions you find. This makes this word a good candidate to turn it into a noun. Because it's not a single action anymore, but it's more actions together, packed. All right. So when you say I like running, you just don't say simply the action, but you say all the little actions that go with it. So this is why there are some nouns, or better, some actions that can be turned into noun, because they contain many other actions inside that are part of the pack. Now, let me give you some very common examples of this. I can also say I like shopping, or I have to do some shopping. Shopping in this case is exactly a noun with the use of ing, because the action of shopping, you can imagine, is actually more than a simple just going somewhere, but then there's also the action of getting into the shop, selecting the item you want, checking the prices, going to the cashier, paying for the object, for the item you bought, and so many other smaller and smaller actions into it. So you can use the word shopping to compress all these actions into only one. And like this, there are many other actions that can be turned into noun. Actually, I would say that any action, as long as it contains other actions within, can be turned into noun. Anything. For example, you can say that instead of say I like, let me also tell you that you can say I am into. Okay, so I also give you an alternative because the word I like is a bit boring after a while, right? So you can say I like and you can say I'm into, and you are saying the same thing. When you say I'm into one, though, the difference is that you only want to use ing or nouns because you are talking about a general topic. So for example, I'm into reading. If I say I'm into reading, which is just like to say I like reading, they are the same, okay? I say that I love all about reading. And like if we put back this phrase, this page, this was reading and I like all about reading, and for this reason I'm into it. Okay, I'm into it. Also, of course, reading involves way more actions, right? Like if you put reading here, how many actions can you find? I'd say that you can, for example, absorb information, right? So, or you can learn something. You can imagine, depending on what you read, clearly. You can imagine a scenario. You can get involved into something fantastic, something unreal, something magical, something beautiful. You can get emotional with books. So there are so many actions, and for this reason you can say that you are into this topic, reading, in this example. There are also activities that are just that are formed with ing. I don't know, for example, computing or crowdfunding. Let me just write down this one so I can actually explain it. I'm going to be like, I'm into crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is pretty complex to explain, and because of this, they made up this word, which is basically the crowd is a lot of people that give money, funds to ideas or companies, but usually to ideas, to events, to ideas, to projects. And the fact that is complicated is the reason behind the choice of just using a word like this, because it comprehends, it includes a lot of actions. 1, 2, 3. We don't really need to understand the actions into crowdfunding, but what we want to understand is that there are many examples like this, and the reason why they exist is because there are many actions within the same action. All right, so let me check into the comments if anything is clear so far, if there is anything that I need to explain better. So let me see. When you use Irina says when you use ing, the action is more alive. Yes, you got it very well. Hugo, welcome back, my friend. Hello, teacher. Good morning. Excellent explanation. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a real pleasure. Okay, so apparently it's all good. If you have questions anyway, even if you're watching the replay of this lesson, just put it down into the comment box. This way, if it's in the comments, I can read it, and next time around I can answer to you. Let's go on, because we said that this was quite intense. In fact, if we don't get to the end of every questions I received, we're going to postpone those questions to our next appointment next Saturday. So the next one is still for you, Hugo. All right, and you are asking, may you so kindly talking about passive voice. All right, so just because let me first help you to structure this sentence, this phrase, so that it's more clear, right? It needs some clarity. So instead of may, all right, you can just use can. and this way is just easier. It's easier to communicate, and don't worry, you are still kind even if you use can. You can ask, can you explain, or even better, can you talk about passive voice? Can you talk about the passive voice? And this way the phrase is simpler and easier to understand, and both for you to say it. So this is how I would say it. Also, you see, just to get back to the beginning of our first explanation, we wanted to talk about, passive voice. So passive voice is here, and now I'm going to tell you something in the about area of passive voice. And I say this because the area of passive voice is very big, is very broad. For this reason, I will not be able to say everything there is to say, but I will help you to understand what it is and how to use it. So, first of all, what is passive voice? Passive voice is a way to build our phrases passive instead of active, or better, passively instead of actively, right? Now let me explain better, because I know that this is definitely not enough. So for this reason, let's get back here for a second, all right? Now, we said passive, and we say active. Now, always remember, you guys, if you want to learn something, for example, passive, okay, we want to always put it against its opposite. Because when you reason by opposites, everything, not only everything is easier, but also you will learn double the things. But now, in fact, we have learned that there's a passive voice, because there's also an active voice. That's right. So let me give you an example. Active voice is the most common. For example, I read a book. I read a book. This is a very simple phrase, and it's in an active voice. I'm going to give you an example of passive voice, and then I will make you, well, you will understand straight away why it's called passive. The passive voice is the book is read by me. Okay, so as you can see, it's reversed. Now, this is called active because this is me. Wow, you know, I'm an artist, you know. So this is me. And this is the book. This is an active voice because all the emphasis is on me reading the book. Me, I'm the active voice. So it's called active because the protagonist of it, the main character, is the person that does the action, or the person that does the action, or not, anyway, that's it. Okay, so the person that does the action. Now, you can expect the opposite, right? Yes, exactly, because when you use the passive voice, me is still there, or better, I am still there, right? But the book is the protagonist. Look at this book. Wow. The book is the king. The book is the most important thing in this phrase, and for this reason it's called passive, because I how do you say, I receive the action passively, whereas here I do the action actively. So here I receive the action, here the action is done by the book and I receive it passively. Okay, so this is why it's called active and passive. The reason why this is more common is because it's more simple, it's simpler. You see, I read a book, it's very easy. I, which is the subject, read is the action. What do I read? I read a book. Very simple. This one, on the other hand, is structured in a more complex way, where you have another object altogether as the main character, and then you have the action that I receive, all right? And because I receive the action, and the action is in the state is read in the past. By the way, I chose a pretty bad action because they are written in the same way, but in the present form, this is pronounced read. In the past form, this is pronounced read. This is English, you guys. You know that it's not straightforward, especially in the pronunciation. So this is a passive voice and this is an active voice. Now, the question is, why is it useful? Why do people go about complicating their lives by using a passive voice? There are some situations where the protagonist or the subject, okay, of the phrase is unknown, is not necessary, or is not needed. Or there are other situations where there's the important thing is not who did the action, but is the action itself. And when the action is more important than the person who does the action, this is where you're going to use the passive voice. It's the case for, I don't know, important books, since we are in the topic of books, right? Since we are talking everything around books, right? We can also say that a very important book, let's just say a very important book, all right, was written by, and then the author of the book, all right? Now, because the book is very important, the book is more important than the person who wrote the book. And for that reason, this is gonna be the protagonist, not so much the writer. The writer is just the person who wrote it, all right? So let me know if this explanation was clear. Let me see down here in the comments once again. Let me see. Could you is more polite, I think. We can talk about it. We can talk about ways to be polite in the next live session, because Lolly, your remark is very important and opens up a whole new conversation, which I want to develop in the right way. Left-hander, yes, Cobra, I am left-handed. Absolutely, I am left-handed. I do everything with my left hand, everything. And yes, I'm sorry, nobody's perfect. So let me see. My car was stolen last night. Yes, I hope it's just a sentence, okay? I really hope that that's not exactly what happened. But yeah, that's a perfect example, because of course, if your car was stolen, into this phrase, your car is the protagonist, your car is the main voice, and you don't even know who stole it, because if you knew who stole your car, you wouldn't even have your car stolen, okay? So for sure, this is a very, very proper example. Well done. And lastly, Okay, so Hugo, you say that you understand everything. Awesome, I'm very happy for it. Anyway, real soon I'm going to put together a series of live streaming sessions where I'm diving deep, step by step, into this English language from the beginning, so that whether you already know a little of the language or you just know nothing about this language, you can still make sense of it. You can still understand every little bit. Okay, so we're going to put everything in its proper place, in its proper spot. But I'm going to talk to you about this topic whenever whenever everything is clear about it. Now, we are at the end of it. So it's been a pleasure to be here with me today. It's been a pleasure. No, it's been a pleasure to be here with me. Makes no sense. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. That's what I wanted to say. Talking about active and passive voice, I mixed everything. So I'll see you back next Saturday. I'll be right here once again, same time and same place, to continue answering your questions. As always, ask your questions here in the chat box, over the comments, using the proper form I created down here. Just click at the link down here to ask me your questions, and I'll get ready for them for the next time. It's been a pleasure again. You guys take